Gulf Breeze, Florida continues to garner worldwide attention because of a persistent UFO flap sighted there since 1986. There are hours of film and videotape documenting UFO sightings over Gulf Breeze, much of it shot by one man, Ed Walters. Skeptics argue that this is highly suspicious and challenge Walters' veracity. But now there is new videotape and new film of UFOs over Gulf Breeze, and none of it comes from Ed Walters.
What in the world is it?
It's a question that residents in Gulf Breeze, Florida have been asking for almost 10 years. There have been over 1,000 individual sightings of unidentified flying objects, beginning in 1986, with this historic photograph taken by Ed Walters. Since then, Walters and others continue to capture UFOs on film and tape.
The activity in our area has certainly not stopped. It has never stopped, and it looks like it's on the increase, hopefully.
There's a lot more people willing to acknowledge that they've had a sighting than 5 years ago. People were much more quiet about it.
The sightings in Gulf Breeze have become more frequent, in large part because groups of amateur ufologists now scan the skies nightly. And the nation's largest UFO research organization, MUFON, now has a branch office here, headed by Hufford.
The purpose of our local MUFON organization, I think, is really twofold. One is to investigate using the best scientific methods we can, UFO sighting reports, close encounters, abduction experiences. And then secondly, to try to educate, to share what we learn locally and also what we learn from what's going around the country and around the globe.
One of the most dramatic UFO encounters to date occurred on April 28, 1994. Ken and Carol Baker were driving home, and as this simulation demonstrates, the Bakers claim to have seen two glowing orbs. What the Bakers saw is similar to videotape of two bright UFOs shot in the same area, hovering over the Gulf Breeze shoreline.
At approximately 10:40 at night, my wife was driving me to my place of employment. I looked out the front windshield, and we saw a white object. I looked out, and I didn't know what it was I was looking at, and it was round like a bubble. Around this light, or around this bubble, was a smaller light that seemed to be orbiting around it. I try to be scientific in all the things that I deal with. I was in the Air Force for 7 years, and I've seen different crafts, different ships we have. It wasn't anything we had seen before.
With the increasing number of sightings by credible townspeople and new videotape evidence, even hardened skeptics believe something is going on over Gulf Breeze. But is it a UFO?
There's a program afoot to try to slowly educate people all over the world that we're not alone. Who knows, maybe one of those days we'll have that landing on the White House lawn experience where no longer is there any doubt that they're here, they're among us.
Sitting in the sky, could be some kind of a military craft, I guess. I doubt it, though. I think it's some kind of an alien craft, if you ask me.
Gulf Breeze resident Ed Walters has also captured a new UFO on film. This Polaroid instant picture shows an unidentified craft offshore with what appears to be waterspout activity just below it. Optical physicist Dr. Bruce Maccabee enlarged and examined the snapshot, and he sent us this lengthy report. In his opinion, the waterspout UFO is not a fake. Dr. Maccabee, a civilian scientist with the U.S. Navy, joins us now to discuss his findings. Dr. Maccabee, you conclude that this photograph is not a fake. Does that mean it is a genuine UFO?
I'd say the chances are very small that that could be a hoax. In this case, the sighting, as reported by Ed, lasted a couple of minutes at the most, but to put a large object out there in the middle of the Santa Rosa Sound would probably take hours.
Dr. Maccabee, Ed Walters has been a key figure in the photographs and in the logging of activity in Gulf Breeze. Is it likely that one individual would be more prone to see and experience UFOs than some other individual?
Ed Walters certainly has been a focus of a lot of attention, but for about 2.5 years, starting in November 1990 and running through July 1992, a group of people I call the Gulf Breeze research team down there went out virtually every night, logged about 180 or so sighting events, a few of which Ed attended. But most of those sightings, the witnesses were people who lived in the area, people who were just traveling through the area, tourists, and so on.
Dr. Maccabee, how do your professional colleagues react to your interest in UFOs and your willingness to go out on a limb to say that there's something here?
So I should point out, by the way, I do work at a Navy laboratory. And I have found that virtually every government laboratory, and I presume most civilian laboratories around the country, have people who are interested in this subject, just as there are people in virtually, I guess, all walks of life who have a sincere interest in finding out what the truth is.
Dr. Bruce Maccabee, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we will be back with more sightings